their customers where they are and work towards satisfaction of their need and want, and they should work towards satisfying their need and want and other similar wishes. Second is market research, whether it is a social marketing campaign or commercial marketing. Both the organization, for them it is fundamental to have market research. Why? Because market research is undertaken by social marketers also to understand the customer's personal belief, their attitude, their knowledge about a relevant social cause for which they are working. And the third is market segmentation. There has to be segmentation of the audience in both the case, depending upon the set of the values for which they are targeting or segmenting the market. So for, let's say, if we are discussing from the social marketing aspect, then a social marketer or not-for-profit organization need to segment the market depending upon all those homogeneous social belief or behavioral attitudes, all those things for which they can target the market and run their welfare programs or NGO programs implementation. Now, after having similarities between social and commercial marketing, it is time to understand what are the differences between social and commercial marketing. So first is community versus financial. Social marketing is directed towards community welfare, whereas commercial marketing is directed towards the personal or financial gain. Second is competition. In competition, what is, they are competing in the commercial marketing, they are competing with other brands or similar products which are satisfying the similar need. So it is a commercial marketing. Whereas in social marketing, the competition is a bit tougher because you are competing with conflicting desire. Okay. Third is campaign. Like commercial campaign will be, its objective will be different, while the campaign for the social marketing will be different. Like social marketing campaign will be for the public related issues, like what are the harmful effect of smoking or drinking, while the campaign for the commercial marketing for the cigarettes or the liquors products will be having different objectives. So the marketing campaign in social marketing and commercial marketing will be different. So again, for your brief understanding, when we were discussing about similarities and differences between social and commercial marketing, the similarities are on the basis of customer orientation, market research, market segmentation, and targeting the market. Whereas differences will be because social marketing will be channelized or directed towards community welfare, whereas the orientation for the commercial marketing for the financial. And the competition will be different both in commercial marketing as well as in social marketing. And the campaign, advertising, promotional campaign for commercial aspect will be different than social marketing aspect. So with these understanding, you will be able to identify what are the similarities and what are the differences between social and commercial marketing. After this, we have complete understanding about social marketing. So what we had discussed in social marketing, we had first discussed with the famous definitions and conceptual ideas about social marketing. After that, we had discussed about marketing mix and social marketing, where had detailed deliberation about product, promotion, price and place from the non-for-profit organization and NGO perspective. After that, we had detailed discussion about additional marketing mix which are for social marketing, and these were public, partnership, policy, purse strings, and finally passion. So these are the additional 5 P's. So initially we had discussed 4 P's. So if we see from additional social marketing marketing mix, so we are basically having 9 P's. The first was product, then price, then promotion, then place, and now additional 5: public, partnership, then policy, then purse strings, and finally passion. So in social marketing mix purview, we will be having 9 different P's. After that, we had detailed discussion about what are the similarities and differences between social and commercial marketing. In similarities, we had seen that social and commercial marketing should have customer orientation, market research, and market segmentation, where under differences, one is directed towards community welfare, another one is directed towards financial. Then competition is different. Commercial competition will be with the brands and similar products which are going to satisfy the similar needs, where in social marketing competition is a bit tougher because you are competing with conflicting desire. And social marketing has been used extensively in anti-smoking and drinking campaign too. What does it mean? That show the marketing campaign, the advertising and promotional mix, and the media channel and the communication message will be different in social marketing as compared to commercial marketing. With this, our discussion about social and commercial marketing is over, and we are moving to our next topic, that is social marketing organizations. So students, I welcome you to the next lecture in this course BMS social marketing organization. If you could recollect, in the previous lecture we had detailed discussion about what is social marketing, what are different marketing mix under social marketing, what were the similarities and differences between social marketing and commercial marketing. So from your that enhanced understanding, I am now taking you to another topic, that is social marketing organizations. So we would like to give you a case of one very famous social marketing organization. This organization was founded in 1970 and its objective was improving reproductive health using commercial marketing strategy. Means this social cause, and social cause was improving reproductive health. This organization has emerged as a leading social marketing organization in the world. And PSI, that is Population Services International, has a specialty in HIV or AIDS prevention, family planning, maternal and child health. This organization combines education and marketing skills. Means first educate the customer and then utilize all those marketing strategies for educational and understanding purpose. And this organization provide needed health products and services especially targeted to the lower income category population. The product and services which are offered by this organization, that is PSI, are branded. They are attractively packaged, means their packaging is very attractive, their market is very wide, and they are using all those promotional medias and channels for promoting their product to poor and selected groups. And they sell their product at a very low cost, even lower than manufacturing cost, so that the product that they are offering, it should be affordable to the target customer, and their target group or target customers are very poor from economic perspective. So their products are very affordable, and the cost of, sometimes the price that they are offering for those products are even lesser than the manufacturing cost. So they are, in that way they become very affordable. They get donor contributions because of their social marketing process. This organization also uses diverse communication methods such as mobile video units, television soap operas, point of sale advertising, then billboards, movie spots, all those different communication, variety of, let's say, a very diversified communication method is basically used for channelizing their communication so that it can reach basically people with low income category. This organization also targets risk population, and they motivate them for going for good health practices through interpersonal communications. Again, see the importance of communication. They utilize the skills in interpersonal communication for motivating the behavior and changing the behavioral pattern for all those population which are under risk category, especially from not practicing hygienic health practices. So this organization motivates all those target populations which are under risk and encourage them, induces behavioral changes in their thought process, so that they basically adopt hygienic health practices, and for that they use interpersonal communication channels. So after having understanding about social marketing organization, we had detailed discussion about one of the such organization, that is Population Services International. Now let us take you for another understanding about another component of understanding about social marketing, that is what are the different components of social marketing. The first component of social marketing is it should be audience centered orientation. The first is audience centered orientation. What happens in this component of social marketing? This is basically achieved by holding formative research activities for understanding the audience, their profile, what are their need, what are their want, what are their perceptions, what are their different lifestyle, living environment or media habits, all those things. This is basically the first component of audience centered orientation. The second will be segmenting the audience or clientele. So when you have understanding where is your target group, what are the audience, target audience, what is their socio-economic, religious, cultural profile, what are their need, want, perception, lifestyle, behavioral pattern, all those, then you need to segment this market based on predisposition, motives, values, lifestyle when you design any social marketing activity. Which kind of media one is going to use, whether you are using face-to-face communication or you are using print or electronic communication, what are the social events that you can utilize for communicating with the target group. So the method selected should be based on analysis of target group profile. Not-for-profit organization, let's say any NGO which is involved in basically hygienic health practices. So what will happen in that hygienic health practices? There could be different media campaign. That media campaign will be advocating for the social cause. It may be effective for the through radio communication, because the target group where we are targeting, an NGO is targeting, may not have the facility for the TV or let's say DTH channels. So the communication media which is accessible for the target group should be utilized for communicating or for the marketing strategies. So this has to be this should be kept in your mind, that what is the media, what are the media channels, what is the frequency of the communication or message. So these all things should become the part of communication under audience centered orientation. The next will be pre-testing and ongoing monitoring. What is that? Pre-testing and ongoing monitoring basically help a particular NGO about the content of the program and how to improve the communication. And this is basically very scientific aspect of social marketing campaign, and it also includes documenting the impact of the customer. So for having understanding how effective is the social media social marketing campaign, one has to do an impact study also, whether the communication message, the media message that an NGO or not-profit organization is basically propagating, whether it is creating any impact on the customers or not. That is very important. The next one is mobilizing the resources. What is mobilizing the resources? all those human and other materialistic resources, they should be effectively mobilized for successful social marketing projects. The concerned organization should develop partnership so that with different NGOs, so that their conversions of resources for human, financial and material could be utilized. I can cite an example that so what should happen is that all those NGOs should develop an strategic partnership for developing generation in an effective manner for combining their human, financial and material resources. The next is handling competition. How to handle social marketing also. So social marketing is basically targeted towards changing the behavioral pattern of the people, and there are previous habits also, lifestyle also, that basically constantly compete with the changed behavior pattern. So this is a kind of competition between previous lifestyle and behavioral pattern and now modified lifestyle and behavioral pattern. So an NGO or organization, they should go for follow-up and counseling programs, and this should be integrated with their total social marketing program, because here it is a competition. Like suppose if we are going for healthy hygiene practices for improved healthy pattern for a population, then it will be kind of behavioral change, moving from unhealthy unhygienic practices to healthy and hygienic practices. So an individual is basically fighting for his changed behavior or pattern or lifestyle. So the social marketing programs should keep on going for regular follow up or counseling programs and integrate them with their social marketing programs, because we are dealing with behavioral issues, we are dealing with the social issues, normal practices, behavioral pattern. So this should be properly follow up with the counseling programs, and this should be integrated in the social marketing programs of NGOs or not-for-profit organization. Now, what are the basic essential feature for developing a substantial and long-term commitment in social marketing? How it can be done? This question may come to your mind. So, social marketing is not an overnight hit and run activity. It is a prolonged process which is basically planned with a lot of market research and understanding about the social belief, ideas, behavioral pattern of target group. So any social marketing campaign should be substantiated over a period of time, and it should be having deep commitment levels which required for all the people who are engaged. Then extent and duration of such commitment is in proportion and the level of change which is expected. And it is not only the skilled professional, but you need passionate and committed people. As we have discussed in additional P's of social marketing, there was one, passion. So an NGO or not-for-profit organization, all those organizations which are engaged in social marketing campaign, they just not need skilled professional. They need to have people who are skilled as well as they are willing to make long-term commitment and they are passionate enough for your program. So NGO or not-for-profit organization or social marketing organization, where they should be very careful in hiring the professionals. There are the two basic things that they should keep in mind. First, they should have necessary skill, because skilled professional will be requiring for running your program. But along with those skills, they should have a right mix of commitment and passion for the social cause or welfare practices. So welfare programs run by NGO or not-for-profit organization. So an NGO or social marketing organization or not-for-profit organization has to be very careful in their recruitment process for hiring professionals, those who are skilled and having commitment and passion for social cause on all such programs which are run by NGOs or not-for-profit organization. So in this lecture, basically what we have understood, first we had detailed discussion about social marketing organization, wherein we had seen how a very famous organization, that is Population Services International, how they have used commercial marketing campaign for especially their social cause or behavioral change pattern programs, which was basically for HIV AIDS prevention, family planning, maternal and child health. We had seen the example that how they used commercial marketing campaign, how they have manufactured their product, which were even and they offered them even at below the manufacturing cost, so that the target group, which was basically socially and economically very down strata of the society, very poor people, so they provided them product because it was basically affordable. So it was a case study for your understanding about one social marketing organization. So when we had this detailed discussion about this, then we moved our discussion to components of social marketing. So in components of social marketing, we had seen audience centered orientation of social marketing campaign, then segmentation of the audience or clientele, this market segmentation process, then communication we have discussed. Then we have discussed how your communication channel should be pre-test and its ongoing monitoring should be done. Then social marketing campaign means through strategic partnership, similar NGOs with similar objectives working for the same homogeneous segment of the market, then they should combine their resources for effectively launching their social marketing campaign. Then how they should handle the competition, through competition for what? Not with the NGO, the competition and individual for change lifestyle and behavioral pattern. So it's a competition and individual. So how to face that competition, how to handle that competition, individual or target group, so that it should be integrated in your social marketing campaign or program, so that the objective of marketing organization can be achieved. Then we had also discussed how an NGO NGO or not-for-profit organization should make a substantial and long-term commitment through social marketing. So social marketing is not like consumer commercial marketing, where we run any ad which has become a huge success overnight. No, it is a sustained process. For and within a just nick of the time it should be become successful. It requires substantial period of time and commitment at all the level, whether it is designing the program or it is launching the program or basically implementing the program. So it requires a lot of commitment and patience. It takes time. Extent and duration of such commitment and the proportions and proportion to the level of change expected, this all requires long-term commitment. And finally, a right person for the right program. Since NGOs, not-for-profit organizations and social marketing organizations, their campaign, their objective, their target group, their strategy are different than commercial marketing, so they should just not need a skilled professional. They should be requiring a skilled professional along with having commitment, long-term commitment and passion for social marketing programs or programs which are directed towards social cause or welfare practices. With this, our discussion about components of social marketing and social marketing organization is over. So we will meet again in next lecture, where we will be discussing our corporate social responsibility and other similar topic in next part of our discussion. Till then, bye, and we wait you for the next session. Thank you. Students, I welcome you to the next lecture of our course, that is BMS 002 Management Functions. It is a course of certificate in NGO management. In the previous lecture, we had detailed discussion about marketing mix from social marketing perspective. Then we had discussed what are social media organizations. We had understanding about their social marketing campaign, effectively utilized, targeted towards their target group, which was basically for developing healthy and hygienic practices, and then campaign for HIV/AIDS, and then maternal health and child health. So we had a common understanding. So from that understanding, now we move to our discussion for the next part, that is basically what are the different challenges for NGO community. So in this lecture we will be having discussion about that as an NGO community, what are different challenges faced by them, whether for not only NGO but for non-profit organization as a whole set. And the next discussion will be on, we will link CSR. So next discussion will be on social marketing and corporate social responsibility, and the present lecture will be basically having our understanding about what are the different challenges which are faced by NGO community. So let us start our discussion about challenges for NGO community. So first challenge that an NGO would be facing, a lot, not we should concentrate for NGO community, as for not for profit organization community, NGO will be part of that. So what are the challenges? So first challenge that come to our thought process is identification and recruitment of qualified social marketers. Why? Because just we have seen our discussion about social marketing. So social marketing campaign or programs, it is required not only the skilled professional, but also those professionals should have long-term commitment, and they should be compassionate, passion for the social cause. So whenever any NGO is recruiting people, human resources for their organization, for designing and implementation of social welfare programs, they should be cautious for employing the right people with combined marketing skill. So these people should have what kind of quality, what are the skill set that an NGO is looking for them. So right people are urgently needed. These people have both emotional and physical stamina. They should have values, commitment on high, that should be high on their agenda. Especially some of the NGO, like they can take the example of WWF. They have managed to create successful campaign because they had used skillful marketing techniques. These are agencies that NGO can recruit for having their regular marketing consultants, or they can create social marketing campaigns for them. Or there could be another option for the NGO, that they can train their own committed staff through their services. So identification and recruitment of qualified committed social marketer, always the word is coming qualified and committed. So one will be the right kind of skill that is required for running social marketing campaign, and committed means long-term commitment and passion for social cause. So if these ingredients are available, then the first purpose of identification and recruitment is successful. A particular organization is going to recruit right kind of the people, having right kind of skill along with the compassion and commitment for the cause. Second, in campaign, social campaign, behavioral change campaign, communication is a big challenge. So social marketer should be paddling with sensitive social issues that will take time to communicate. So communication is a challenge, especially in NGOs. or not-for-profit organization, because they are dealing with the social issues or lifestyle change or behavioral change. The social marketing dealing with especially the campaign for AIDS or HIV transmission, they have to be extra cautious. Okay, then for running these campaign, they can think that how intensive campaign they can launch with the public, because what are the sensitive areas that they need to avoid for launching such kind of campaign, what will be the different perceptions when they launch this particular campaign, and how long it will take, how much time it will take for changing the perception of the kind of communication campaign. Then an NGO need to have developed communication strategy, professional communication agencies, because the entire success of social marketing campaign rests on communication strategy. So one need not to land up in any kind of trouble, especially with respect to. So it is advised, especially for the NGOs and not-for-profit organizations, that they should develop comprehensive, carefully developed, and it should take the help of professional communication agencies. Let us take the example of WWF. WWF is an NGO which is international NGO which is committed for environmental conservation. They have utilized very different communication language and communication channel, especially talking about environmental conservation. So we were talking about WWF, we were giving the example, especially when we are having discussion about communication as a challenge. WWF is basically a leading NGO, which is its work is basically directed towards environmental conservation. It deals about talking, discussion, or creating awareness about environmental conservation. So these examples can be taken by the NGOs when they are thinking about developing a communicational media strategy for their social marketing campaign. The next challenge for the NGO is basically resources, and most challenging one will be mobilizing the finances, because social marketers, they face same challenge as they face by the commercial marketers. And one of the challenges is that they have to keep a substantial amount of money for social marketing campaign. So challenging, the most challenge will for especially social marketers or NGO will be having financial resources for running sustained social marketing campaign. Another challenge that they face is that lack of strategic planning. Sometimes very good idea come to their mind, but they can create confusion also, and those idea can deviate certain organization from their initial goal. And sometimes these good ideas don't always remain in the line with the NGO. So what happens? So need for strategic planning is very much required for such organization which are into social marketing campaign. And which are those organizations? Basically NGOs and not-for-profit organizations. So when any new idea comes to the picture for enhanced understanding or for diversifying the social cause or welfare services for the NGO, they should think that whether this idea is not creating any kind of confusion and deviating their activities, their objectives from their initial goal. And secondly, sometimes their mission, their vision, their objectives, whether it is matching with them or not. Because if they are not matching, then they will have to diversify their respective activities, and they should not match with their strategic planning. So another bigger challenge for the NGO would be, or NGO community will be, lack of strategic planning. Then the third problem or challenge, major challenge that I feel would be for having absence of strategic partnership and networking. There could be many reasons for that, because if the cause is famous and maternal and child health, these are the common areas where many NGOs must be working. So NGO may believe that if they collaborate or they become closer to other NGO or not-for-profit organization which are working in the similar domain, so it may create some kind of competition for applying for the grant. This I can cite another example. Suppose an NGO is a very small NGO which is working towards let's say health and hygiene, and there may be other NGOs which are very big in their operations. Maybe from the national perspective they are launching their program, and this particular NGO that I am giving the case will be a small NGO working in particular, let's say, few districts. So they might feel that if they want to collaborate on forge any strategic partnership with the bigger NGO, that may basically hamper them for their prospects for getting grants for their welfare program. So this kind of issue can come to their mind. Secondly, making use of technology can also help them for making networks within their own space. They can also think for that. So first of all, they should not think that while collaborating or forging a strategic partnership can create any kind of competition for applying for the grants for their welfare program or social cause program. And secondly, today's environment where social media is playing a very vital role, so they can use the help of social media campaign or ICT based technology for developing network with similar NGOs which are working in the same domain. So they can use these strategies for developing collaboration or strategic partnership with similar NGOs. Okay, so having this discussion, what we find is that for the NGO communities, the biggest challenge will be first, what should be the social marketing agency that they should hire. So when they are going for hiring, this is one of the biggest challenge. One of the challenges for the NGO community is identification and recruitment of committed qualified social marketing agency. So social marketing agency, when they are hiring, so NGO should keep in mind that they are selecting the people having the right skill set plus two essential components. One is passion and second is long-term commitment. As we have seen in our previous discussion, social marketing process or social marketing campaign is a sustained time-consuming activity. So one has to be patient enough. So the people required or the agency recruited by the NGO should have the people with right skill set and compassion and commitment for the social cause. The people that they are recruiting or NGO is recruiting, they should have emotional and physical stamina and high on their agenda, especially the organization which is being hired by the NGOs or social marketing for the NGO or not-for-profit organization. There may be possible that there are some agencies which are developing the regular market, which are having as a regular marketing consultant or agencies for creating their campaign. So what they should do is they should either train their own committed staff with the help of these agencies and get their services, or they can take completely the services of such social marketing organization for running their social marketing campaign. The second biggest challenge that we have discussed, and again I am bringing to for your enhanced understanding, is communication. Communication is the biggest challenge in social marketing campaign, especially launched by the NGOs or not-for-profit organization, because the cause is social cause, welfare services. So sometimes there are some idea or some issues that you are going to address that needs very careful communication, especially dealing with the AIDS, HIV transmission. And when dealing with these aids or communication, then one has to see with the social perspective, religious and cultural perspective while dealing with such social marketing campaign. Then an NGO has to see that what will be the channel of communication what will be the frequency of the communication, how this communication will be dealing with the sensitive areas, whether that should be included or that such a social marketing campaign, so that they can find some change perception, valuable some significant change in the perception that needs to be answered while devising a communication protocol, especially for social marketing programs and dealing with the social cause and for the NGOs or not for profit organization. Communication strategies should be developed with the help of professional communication agencies, and they should cite an example of WWF, which has used different and new communication languages while they were talking about conservation of environment in the domain of the public. The third challenge that an NGO would be facing would be about channelizing the resources, especially the finances. So whether they can go for developing a kind of strategic partnership so that they can channelize their, or rather converge their financial resources for combined social marketing campaigns. This may be possible when more than two NGOs are basically working in similar direction. Maybe one NGO would be working for hygienic health practices, another one is contributing towards removing drinking habits or the danger of smoking and drinking. So these two ideas may be directing towards similar similar market segment. So market segment is similar, ideas and the communication channel may be similar, but the way they are addressing it might be different. So it may be possible that NGOs which are working in these working to address these issues, they should forge a strategic partnership. They can channelize, contribute their financial resources and develop a cost-effective social marketing campaign where the communication is addressed to the similar targets and hygiene practices. Then any another NGO which is working towards HIV or HIV transmission, or then they can also channelize. But there is a caution or not-for-profit organization would be facing would be lack of strategic planning, because any new idea, any new goal, that may come up welfare programs, but it may be possible that the new goal may create confusion and they may deviate. It may be possible that some good ideas come, because good ideas always come with the strategic partnership collaboration, but it may be possible that that idea may be very interesting but not fitting into the vision, mission and objective of an NGO. So an NGO has to decide whether the new idea or the new social belief or the change lifestyle perspective or behavioral change that they are targeting, whether it is in the line with the objective, mission and vision of the NGO or not. So strategic planning is by NGO community. And the fifth that I have just previously discussed, has been observed that in the NGO community there is an absence of that when they forge a strategic partnership or collaboration with similar NGOs, it may create a kind of competition for applying for the grant. Means the prospect of one NGO might hamper the prospect of another NGO if they are working in the same directions. I mean, in the same target area, segmented area of this is for getting grants from the donor, external donor. It may be. Another aspect is that when you forge a strategic partnership because with this partnership on collaboration, you are basically channelizing your resources. So resource mobilization, it will be economize your resources, and you can the fund which is left with you can be directed towards those advances in technology or social media for developing enhanced marketing campaign, because your social marketing campaign will also attract other NGOs which are working in similar direction, and they might be interested with your NGO for having any strategic partnership for running their programs. So students, in this lecture we had discussion about what are the different challenges which are being faced by NGOs or not-for-profit organization. With this particular session will be over, and we will move to the next lecture that will be after this lecture. That lecture will be basically on discussion having how social marketing is related to corporate social responsibility. So I wait for your enhanced understanding and discussion in our next topic, that will be social marketing and corporate social responsibility. Till then, bye. Lecture under course BMS 002, which is management functions, and today we are going. In the previous lecture we had discussion regarding marketing mix of social marketing. What was the difference between social marketing and commercial marketing? In the previous lecture we had compared social marketing with commercial marketing under similarities and differences between social marketing and commercial marketing. So from that point, today we are taking our discussion to the next level, and the topic under our discussion will be social marketing and its relation with corporate social. For you is coming up as corporate social responsibility. So what basically do you understand about corporate social responsibility? Why organizations go for corporate social responsibility? So before having detailed discussion about corporate social responsibility, let's have brief understanding, concept and meaning about corporate social responsibility. So it is about the organizations who manage their business in such a manner that it should create a positive impact on the society and the environment at one hand, while maximizing the value for their shareholders. Corporate social responsibility is a kind of balancing act in an organization. On one side, maximizing their business, so creating value addition for the shareholder, simultaneously make a positive impact on the society as well as on the environment. It is also a kind of continuing commitment by business organization to behave ethically and contribute towards economic development as well as improving quality life of the workforce and their families as well as the local community and society at large. This definition of corporate social responsibility has been given by World Business Council for Sustainable Development. So according to this definition, for your understanding, it is a kind of continuing commitment by a business organization. For what? For behaving ethically and contributing to economic development. Means behaving ethically, social commitment and contributing for the economic development for the business perspective. How? By improving the quality of life of the workforce and their families as well as the local community and society at large. It is also a commitment of functional business for contributing towards sustainability, behavioral changes attitudinal changes for the society. So contribution in the terms of funding towards all these activities will be coming under corporate social responsibility. So the question should come to your mind, why we are having discussion with social marketing and corporate social responsibility? Because social marketing, corporate social responsibility is directly linked to the functioning of non-government organizations or non-profit organization. That is why we are having a discussion for social marketing and corporate social responsibility. So once again, corporate social responsibility, a kind of act where one side you are balancing the economic development by increasing the business profit, creating value addition for your shareholders. Simultaneously, on the other side, on ethical context, you are contributing towards improving the quality of life of the workforce, their family, the society where they are living, everything. Okay, responsibility from Indian perspective. So India is considered as the first country in the world to make corporate social responsibility as a mandatory. So what is about CSR in India? As per the Company Act, the companies with a net worth of 5 billion Indian rupees, net worth of the companies 5 billion Indian rupees or more than this, or either net worth of 5 billion rupees or more, net profit of 50 million Indian rupees or more, company falling in this category will need to spend 2% of their average net profit of 3 years on corporate social responsibility. For your understanding, under Companies Act, the net worth of any company having net worth of 5 billion Indian rupees or more than that, or this is first condition, or annual turnover of that company having 10 billion Indian rupees or more than that, or net profit of 50 million Indian rupees more. If companies fall in any of these categories, then they need to spend 2% of their average net profit of last 3 years on corporate responsibility. Through this act, especially an amendment in the act, India has become the first country in the world to make corporate social responsibility as mandatory by amendment in the Companies Act in the year 2014. So why it is necessary? Because through corporate social responsibility, following criteria. What are those criteria? The criteria should be customer, suppliers, environment. When any organization start for the CSR process, first they should need to make an assessment of their business, and finally employees. So education sector, if an understanding about CSR funding in India is to be considered, it has been found that education sector is the most sought after actor for contribution towards corporate social responsibility. Means, what I mean to say is that companies contributing their CSR for the social development causes, the maximum contribution goes to educational upliftment of the community. So education sector basically gets maximum percentage of the funding, followed by the areas where NGOs are working are hunger, poverty, healthcare, environmental sustainability, and rural development. So the majority of the funding for the CSR, generally as per the one of the survey on CSR contribution in the India, the finding of that survey says that the maximum percentage of the funding for the CSR goes to education sector, and then followed by all those sectors contributing like hunger, poverty and healthcare, environmental sustainability and rural development. They also tend necessary to know for your understanding that which are these sectors where basically majority or substantial part of CSR funding goes for the educational upliftment or social development or cultural upliftment of the social society and the groups that they are basically getting the funding for the CSR. So after having this understanding that what is CSR, how it is being implemented in India, what are which was the Companies Act and its amendment, India. After this, let us now have a understanding about some of the organizations which are contributing in a substantial amount about CSR. So it will be a kind of case study for all of us, and for you it will be a kind of let's say proper understanding how companies are contributing for social, economic, cultural development under corporate social responsibility. So funding under corporate social responsibility, the Tata Group, its funding for CSR goes for the community improvement, poverty alleviation, and other social welfare programs. What I mean to say is that NGOs or social group organization or voluntary action groups or other registered organizations, alleviation programs, women empowerment activities, income generation, rural community development, and other social welfare programs. Such NGOs or non-profit organization or voluntary action groups are basically getting funding from the Tata Group under CSR mandate. Another business group which is also very prominent, famous for in automobile sector especially, and Tech Mahindra in the IT. These are the group companies of Mahindra, and which is also very famous for their CSR activities. So under CSR activities, which are different areas where it is educational programs to assist economically and socially disadvantaged community. So there is one program of Mahindra Group which is very famous, that is Nanni Kali. Nanni Kali, this program basically focuses on educational development of the girls. They have Mahindra Pride Schools. Mahindra Pride Schools for industrial training. Under these schools, basically what they do is that they provide industrial training to the family members of the workforces working in and around their respective factories or other their respective corporate offices, or in general they provide a certain target group where the programs are running for the industrial training of the people. Then they have very famous Lifeline Express for healthcare services in remote areas. So if we try to see and compare the areas where Tata Group and Mahindra Group are undergoing for CSR related activities. So one is very common. The Tata Group is going for women empowerment activities. In the similar level, Mahindra Group has a very famous program of Nanni Kali for educational development of the girl child. Secondly, for industrial training, they have Mahindra Pride Schools, whereas Tata Group is basically has majority of the spending in community improvement and poverty alleviation program. Third, whereas Tata Group is contributing towards rural community development and social welfare programs, Mahindra Group has very good footprints through healthcare sector, especially for the remote areas where we can assume that primary health services may not be in a very good condition. So they have provided Lifeline Express, where healthcare services at the but just in the representation of a primary health services are being given access to remote areas. So these are the comparative CSR activities of Tata Group and Mahindra Group. Let's take another example of the company which is also very famous for corporate social responsibility related activities. So it is ITC. So focus of ITC CSR related activities is basically for sustainable livelihood and environment protection program. But you can consider that these are the two broad heads under which ITC group is supporting for funding to non livelihood and environment protection programs. Another very famous program of, you might be Chopal? E-Chopal is an IT platform where they connect rural farmers through procuring under E-Chopal program. Around 40,000 villages and over 4 million farmers are covered through that. This company procure agriculture products, grains or finished E-Chopal program, basically targeted towards rural development, and or let's say so farmer can sell their produce through E-Chopal program of ITC, which is very famous. This corporate social responsibility related activities of ITC. So we had basically had discussion about corporate social responsibility related activities of three major corporate group. One was Tata, second was Mahindra, and third was ITC. So related spending are going on. So ITC, rural empowerment, especially through each of social and cultural development of girl child through Nanni Kali program, which is basically focusing for educational development of the girls. Then they have Mahindra Pride schools for industrial training, and Lifeline Express means accessing the quality health responsibility related activities are basically in the area of community improvement, poverty alleviation program, community development, and other social welfare programs. So through these big corporate group and their social these big corporates are spending money under corporate social responsibility. Part of this lecture where I had told that CSR of any organization and employees, so especially environment, communities and employees, these responsibility. And I had also told you that education sector is the area which gets majority of the funding, means educational development. Educational development is linked with the social development. So educational sector is the area where maximum portion of the CSR funding goes, which is followed by hunger, poverty alleviation, healthcare management, environmental sustainability, rural development. So these are the different areas which social responsibility related funding, and the different areas, what are the programs they are running, how they are contributing to voluntary action groups or NGOs. What we understand that what is the difference between corporate social responsibility and social marketing. We had our understanding that they had customer orientation is satisfying the need and want of the customer. Now let us see how. So corporate social responsibility and social marketing are basically interlinked with each other, because the activities, the programs that are being run under corporate social responsibility, they can be broadcasted or let's say connected through target group or the customer through social marketing programs. So corporate social responsibility is, on the first side, it is a legal obligation. How legal obligation? Because the Companies Act has given condition for contributing towards CSR, as I have explained you earlier. And first of all, it is a legal obligation, and second, it is a social commitment, well-being of the society from where you are selling your product and earning your profit. So basic logic behind corporate social responsibility is that a particular organization is targeting for maximizing the benefit and getting value addition for their shareholders, they should have some social development, welfare related program. So corporate social responsibility, one side it is a legal obligation, is also an ethical activity, and the third is corporate social responsibility is a kind of management process. Management process means commitment towards social development, cultural upliftment, value addition in the society through a management process. Secondly, we now look at social marketing. So social marketing is basically target group oriented marketing because of similarity with the commercial marketing. In the social marketing, market segmentation is also done, that where is the target area, who are your target customers, which particular aspect that you are going to address. Are you going for change of their behavioral modification, or change of attitude, or value addition in the society where they are staying or living? So all things are covered under target group oriented marketing. Second, social marketing. Identifying the target group and then creating a value addition. Suppose, let's take the example, if social marketing is because you are making behavioral change in the mind of the customer to how sustainable manner. So recyclable plastic bottle where the mineral water is played, this is basically an marketing. The one thing is very common for corporate social responsibility. Social marketing are interrelated. So the first is that corporate social responsibility is legal obligation under Companies Act, and ethical obligation through social commitment. Second, corporate social responsibility is an ethical activity. Social responsibility is basically a management process, whereas social marketing is target group oriented marketing, where first a customer or target group social development or behavioral change or adaptation model change. Target group, thus I have given you the example of moving from changing your behavioral pattern from unhealthy hygienic practice to hygienic. So social marketing is target group oriented marketing. It is an exchange. I just again give you a brief understanding that what we have covered. The first thing that we have covered was our definition. It is a continuing commitment by a business organization to behave ethically and contribute towards economic development. To contribute for India is the first country which has made corporate social responsibility as mandatory by amendment in the Companies Act. And which are those companies which can contribute for CSR funding? So this company having net worth of 5 billion is following, a business house is following in this falling in this category, then they can spend 2% of their average net profit for of last 3 as if any organization has to go for corporate social responsibility. So first they should do assessment of their business on 5 basic criteria. The first is customer, second is and finally employees. The pattern of spending of CSR portion of the funding of CSR going the sectors like responsibility related activities of ITC, the famous each of all program, through we had comparative discussion between corporate social responsibility obligation. So social obligation through social commitment and legal obligation under to consumer marketing, consumer oriented marketing. Social marketing is the exchange process, a behavioral pattern, and social marketing is over. And I hope you had proper understanding about the topic, and thank you once again for your attention, for the listening and understanding this topic.
And between that, what you do is a project. Then how can I schedule various activities? Good scheduling of a particular project. Then effective project scheduling is a critical component of successful time management as far as completion of a project is concerned. So completion of a project relates to leads to good timely completion of work. Scheduling converts the plan and cost into an operating time, and that is what is the essence why we schedule. In addition, there are several other objectives of scheduling, and one of them is to maintain the availability of all kinds of resources during the project implementation period. Now, scheduling also has to deal with the alignment. How do you define a project schedule? Well, project schedule includes each activity. So in order to do that, we have to get this particular information. If you don't have that information, then your project schedule cannot be created. Then the project schedule also communicates what tasks need to be done, right? And which organization resource will be allotted to complete those tasks in that time frame. So in a sense, it has to deal with not only the resources, manpower resource, comprehensive and easy to understand. If project schedule is not comprehensive and easy to understand, you know it is not going to be a good project. Well, it's a very interesting thing. The very first thing which we would like to, 2 or 3 types of every task required to complete the project. So you can put some macros, macro kind of work schedules in this particular summary, where major the project manager of things which we need to understand. Basic planning for the project. Then the next stage is the define project activities. So what would be activities are dependent. So these are the in a sense that but in order to do so, you will define project activities, you will determine the dependent sequence of those activities in a sense, right? So you find out the dependencies, then obviously the sequence is to be determined, which will be followed for how many manpower, womanpower will be required for a particular situation, right? And it will be leading to preparing of schedule, and finally this particular process will be summed up with the monitoring and control activity, because that is something which is part of a complete project management scenario. Well, as far as planning is concerned, stage of planning, you establish the process, right? Which may include your also your people, from the stakeholders. Then authorize the procedure for approving changes in schedule. So who will be authorized, how we can make changes, who will be discussing the planning part of it. Then the next stage, we define project activities. Now when we define project activity, we list out all of those activities, because you know, one of the key consideration areas is when you are scheduling, the micro level scheduling is important than doing a macro level scheduling. Like you can simply say one activity design and it may take 4 months, right? Now that is not a good way of defining your project activity. A good way of defining your project activity may be to break down the design into various components, maybe the infrastructure procurement, then people list, and then break those 4 months into those required to complete each activity and related to project. Now, why measurable? You know, measurable is very, very important, because if you do not know how much time and effort will be required for a particular piece of work, then you are not be able to make your schedule, right? So time is one of the most essential criteria, and cost Yes. So though both the things are going to be, cost in the scheduling may be in the form of what you can say is the resource required. Okay. Then determine dependencies, the next step. Identify which activities are dependent on other activities to be completed. So if you can define that, then it will be like what activities which can be done in parallel, determining the activities which are to be done in series. All these things have to be the best schedule as far as to do is the resource estimation. Now resources required to perform in right. So consider other resources that are specific to your project also. Ensure that the personnel involved in any activity is not involved in multiple activities. If that happens, then you will be constrained. Completion time may run out of schedule, and that means lots of losses. Overlapping of resources can lead to, due to some unforeseen reason it is happening, yes, we can't do much about it. But then if it is happening because of unplanned activities, then it is not an estimation. Wasting precious resources, the team members, right? Estimate time on the basis of industry standard or similar activities. So this is technically an estimation, and you should not be overestimating as well as you should not be underestimating. However, in the absence of any industry standard, opt for average of the best, worst and most likely scenarios. You are creating your PERT, right? And dates to various activities, and then due dates of those activities as far as completion is concerned, right? Multiple formulas are used for developing the project schedule that can be utilized for preparing schedule. More prominent mode model which is used is normally the critical path method, which we had discussed in the last video session, and which is very important in your schedule. Finally, the last activity as far as project scheduling is concerned is monitoring and control. It is in fact for the project completely, right? Monitoring and control of project schedule continues to for the entire duration of the project. If you don't monitor, making schedule is not enough, but monitoring that particular schedule period of time is the not only controlling, but you are communicating, constantly communicating with the team where they are lagging, where they might like to put more efforts, right? So that way it is very, very interesting. It becomes a very interesting scenario, and project team becomes very, very important. The monitoring and control is very important activity which ensures that each activity is on schedule and determines whether corrective action needs to be taken if delays are occurring. Now this is one of the most important part of project control. Why? Because if project doesn't fail on the last day of completion, right, or the deadline, on the day of deadline, it fails if there is failure in catch those failures and may need sense, right? Now the importance of scheduling, if we can categorize, so scheduling gives a clear picture of requirements of the project, right? So it is going to tell you that these activities are to be performed, these are the manpower needed, these are the hardware needed, these are the personnel needed, and this may be the cost layout. Maybe cost layout, maybe you can keep separately, but then at least you can do some cost layout, maybe not as a scheduling activity, but then as a project is dependent on your scheduling. If you do schedule well, project execution of issues is important than just finding yourself at the end of the project where you say, oh, we have not done this, we have not done that. That kind of a thing is not going to work. Assign responsibilities and accountabilities, right? So this will be there, responsible for what activity, and so on and so forth. Efficient allocation of resources. Now this is another importance as far as project scheduling is concerned. So that is as far as the importance of scheduling. But what are the techniques of performing scheduling? Well, there are many different ways you can do the scheduling of the project, and one of them can be maybe just creating a task list and creating a time schedule in that particular task list. Now that may be very simple. You can do it for a very simple small project, or you can use calendars as far as doing the scheduling is concerned. In addition, whatever techniques we have discussed in the last two lectures was about the Gantt chart, the critical path method, and PERT. Now these are very important tools or techniques for scheduling of a particular project. Well, I try to put, and the time schedule which is given is very important for you. Now these are time estimate. Now the first time estimates, maybe you can treat it as the most optimistic. You can complete it in 2 days time. On an average is M, which basically A was the most optimistic guess. M is some sort of average guess. In this particular case, we have used 3 days, let's say, right? In
and where do I have to look there? I can look at the screen also, no problem, right? ये क्लोज करना है नहीं खुला रखो बिल्कुल घुटन हो जाएगी घुटन हो जाएगा Namaskar and good morning. Welcome to the first session of our course code of Master. One is the course code. No, the course functions. What is the course structure? First, I would like to discuss with you the course structure of this particular. It has 4 blocks. Deals with planning, organizing, staffing, and directing. Block 3 pertains to managerial processes. Part 2, which leading and motivating decision-making processes. That deals with